Welcome back to Computer Vision. Well, actually, we're done. It's been kind of a long road, but we just covered a bunch of material. I apologize if I talk too much. I do that. My kids tell me that all the time. But I think you got a bunch of good grounding on the fundamentals of computer vision. We manipulated images as functions, everything from frequency content to talking about filtering. We talked about how cameras and camera models work that allow you to reason about the geometry between multiple views. We talked about finding features in one image and how you would find them in another image so that you could relate them either for doing image manipulation, doing recognition, or just doing the geometry. We talked a little bit about image formation in terms of how the light interplays with material in order to make a picture to begin with. We talked about how in video, images change and motion happens in doing tracking. Then towards the end, we focused a bit more on recognition, classification, and we talked about how to do sort of more serious work in that area, you would have to know more about machine learning. And in fact, that's a good sort of jumping off point for where you might go from here. If you actually want to do some high-end work in computer vision involving recognition, classification, labeling, you probably would have to get well grounded in machine learning methods, or at least grounded enough that you could understand the methods that are currently being applied. There's another side, in fact, one of the other Udacity Georgia Tech courses on computational photography, which thinks about the manipulation of images with respect to creating new images or thinking about it sort of an advanced media perspective. And in particular, even though this feels like a somewhat comprehensive course in computer vision, if you were to sort of go out there and try to do work in a computer vision world, there are some things you'll see that you didn't see. We were very, shall we say, careful in many of the images that we gave you. Images are much less well behaved than the images that we gave you, and one of the first things you find out is that, wow, I wasn't getting the types of images that I was expecting, and so you have to think a lot more about how you get the images to be the way you want them to be, and then in order to do the computer vision. The flip side is consuming the information that comes out of computer vision, right? Is that going to go into some system that's going to do more reasoning about the nature of what's going on? Are you going to set off alarms? Are you going to mark things? Are you going to go shopping? What's going to be the output? How is that output going to be used? So I'm sure at this point you feel like you've learned some stuff. There is a lot more to do. But a lot of what needs to be done is really the applications of these basic skills to sort of the specific set of imagery that you're working with. So I hope you will do some of that. If you do and it works well, please send us a note. I love it when I hear students come back and say, I thought your class was okay, it's kind of a lot of work, but man, am I glad I took it because I'm now doing this sort of imagery analysis of aerial imagery, and all of a sudden I find myself using stuff that we learned. So if you have any of those experiences, please share them with us, with me, and we look forward to talking to you again.